is like an absolute lunatic. Hello and welcome to English Premier League Weekly with myself, Joe Carter, alongside me, Mus and Roz. How are you guys doing? Mus, how are you?
Morning, chaps. Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. How are you?
I am very good, full of the joys of spring, although the weather would suggest that it isn't spring. Roz, how are you getting on, mate?
Well, the weather's a bit shit, isn't it? It's like kind of, a bit dreary. But
Yeah?
I was going to go to a beer garden later, but don't really fancy it now. Apart from that, yeah, good, mate.
No worries, mate. You looking forward to, right, lap this up. Are you looking forward to the last day of the championship?
Oh, wow, you actually giving me, yeah, you know what? It's ridiculous. I was just saying to Mus, actually, anyone, that wants to watch good quality football with one of the best six English sides, Spurs Leeds, feel free to watch that game at 12:30. But if you want to watch a game where there's actually something to play for, then just check out the bottom four of the championship, because it's the last day going in. It's Sheffield Wednesday versus Derby, and but with a better goal difference, 6 on the bounce. So it's literally a sort of final for who stays in the championship. And for me, it kind of vindicates my point about ex-players becoming managers and just walking into kind of good jobs. And Rooney's doing a terrible job, and could they get them relegated?
Well, what a story that would be. That would be a story and a half, especially after Lampard's nearly getting them into the Prem not too long ago. Yeah.
What was that about Lampard and failed ex-players being managers? what was I saying about the fact that actually the squad that Chelsea had at their disposal was actually a really good squad? What did they ever do after they tanked? Oh, they're in the Champions League final with the exact same squad of players.
And the FA Cup final. And it looks like they're in the top four.
Beating Man City, keeping clean sheets against the best managers in the world. Yeah, but Lampard, yeah. All those Chelsea fans have gone quiet. The ones that were turning on Abramovich. They were like, oh, it's disgraceful. You can't sack Frank Lampard.
Well,
Champions League final.
We'll get on to Chelsea, obviously, throughout the show. We're going to have a slightly extended show today, obviously, as well, because of the bank holiday weekend, we were unable to put out our regular kind of review show. So we're going to squeeze it all into this one show. So sit tight, put your slippers on, get a cup of coffee ready, like myself, and strap in. It's going to be a serious show today. Game week 35 preview, but also a game week 34 review. We're going to go through all of our predictions from last week. If you like what you're watching, then subscribe to the channel, and you can allow notifications to make sure you never miss a live stream. Hello to Jack and Andy already in the comments. How you doing, chaps? Give us your predictions as we go through the predictions later in the show. Myself, Roz, and Mus. Now, though, we're going to look at last week's results. So there they are upon the screen. Let's start then with Crystal Palace Man City. Finished 2-0 to Man City. Benjamin Mendy, liking my pronunciation there, I hope. Benjamin Mendy, man of the match. Roz, how did you see this match?
On the television, Joe.
No.
No, it was. It kind of just goes to show how ridiculous Man City squad is. The fact that they can have one eye on that PSG fixture. They can put out a side with Mendy, who's kind of the left back that everyone forgot about. People sort of talk about Man City spending and how they've never spent more than 60 million on a player to kind of assemble a squad. They've had so many fullbacks that they've spent sort of 50 plus million on that haven't really worked out. Danilo, Mendy, Zinchenko now seems to be captain of Ukraine. Zinchenko.
Yeah, come on. Finally.
Who had a ridiculously good game, to be fair, against PSG.
Finally, Zinchenko getting the credit he deserves from the EPLW pundits, because I've been banging the Zinchenko drum for a while now, and you guys just not listening. You're not taking it. Zinchenko is a blinding player.
Yeah, he's all right, but the the fact that in a crucial game to Man City's title charge, they can just slip someone like Mendy and he can get a man of the match performance. Comprehensive victory. But I think they might win the Premier League.
Big shout.
sticking your neck out there, Ros, on Man City potentially maybe winning the Premier League. Let's see what happens. You know, who knows what might happen. So in that game, our predictions went a little bit like this. Ros, you said 2-0 to City. Jesus, man of the match. Mus, you said 2-1 Sterling. I said 2-1 Jesus. It was 2-0. And obviously, Benjamin Mendy got man of the match. So, Ros, that got you 2 points in our prediction game. Mus and myself on 1. On to Brighton Leeds then, Mus. You predicted this one as a Bishop Desmond. It actually was only half a Bishop. 2-0 it finished to Brighton, and Welbeck, man of the match, that guy Welbs. How did it go for Brighton in this game? How did they perform to get that victory?
Yeah, I mean, just trying to think what's half a bishop? Was that a vicar or something? But yeah, I mean, Leeds were pretty disappointing. I think it was Alioski who is probably the weak link, I'd say, in that Leeds backline.
A weakling?
Weak link.
Oh, right. Okay. I was going to say, he doesn't look like much of a weakling to me. I wouldn't say that to his face.
Well, yeah, it's the beach blonde hair, but that aside, you know, I think there's a noticeable drop off in quality compared to Harrison on the other side. You know, end product's not quite there. But anyway, he gave away a silly foul. Brighton took the initiative in the first 15 minutes through gross misconduct, slotting away the penalty. And I think Brighton controlled the game, well worth 3 points. Bamford was disappointing. Leeds weren't great going forward. I've never seen Ross smile so much.
Ross is literally purring like a Cheshire cat at what you're saying at the moment.
Yeah.
So
I was going to give Leeds a bit of credit, or at least, in fairness to Alioski, it says something about Bielsa's attacking style when their left back has the number 10 on the back of his shirt. He is often played sort of out of position as that kind of left back role, or he kind of plays it everywhere. When they were playing in the Championship, he was always kind of an attacking midfielder or a winger. So yeah, definitely that kind of weak link.
Yeah, Ross, you called that one 0-0 Veltman, Mus 2-2 Dallas. I said 1-0 Mopay. It was 2-0 Welbeck. So I was the only one that got a point out of that game. Ross, I'm going to come to you now for the biggest derby in football. Sorry, the second biggest after Palace Brighton. Chelsea, Fulham, the West London derby, clash of the Titan. It was 2-0 to the Titan this time around. Kai Havertz getting that man of the match award, king of the game week, or whatever they call it on the official Premier League website. Ros, you called this one 0-0, and you said Jurcham Anderson was going to be man of the match. Why wasn't it?
Because we're seeing the best of Kai Havertz, and because main man Mason Mount is a hell of a player. The first Havertz goal where Mount just picked it out of the sky, unreal touch.
Yeah,
he's just brilliant, isn't he, Mason Mount? I think in terms of like sort of young English talent, Foden was fairly instant. Everyone got excited overnight and saw the quality there. Mason Mount's been a bit of a slow burner. Chelsea fans have seen it for a long time, and everyone else has been like, well, you know, if you're building that England lineup, you can't leave out Grealish, you can't leave out Foden, you can't leave out all these players. And now I think everyone's just sort of come around saying that Mason Mount has to start.
Yeah, it's kind of like a shower and a grower, isn't it? Foden's a shower, Mount's a grower.
I love it. We set the line here.
Yeah. It's a family show, lads.
10:25 a.m.
5 minutes in, and we're already on showers and growers. So
It's
how far can we
Ros, it's why people watch EPLW instead of Soccer M, mate. It's because we actually do the jokes.
Yeah, but he offers everything. Everything goes through him. Kai Havertz finally finding his feet. I'm going to make a bold prediction, which you can hold me to, which is Chelsea to win the league next season. Okay. And I thought that before they got to the final of the Champions League. There's something about Chelsea where they kind of they go through phases. They win a couple of leagues in a row and then drop off, get a couple of new managers. One of them works out, takes a season to build, and then next season goes on to win it. Yeah,
we're seeing the Conte Mark II, are we? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. I think Kai Havertz is just unreal, really showing the quality he has. They've just got an incredible squad. But yeah, I'm going to go for Chelsea champions next season.
Interesting. Good shout. Mus, we both called this a 1-0, so that got us a point each. So kind of as it stands, you got me on 3, Mus on 2, Roz on 2. So it was looking like a good game week for me until a bit later. We'll get there. But the next match we're going to look at, Mus, Everton Villa. You predicted this one to be 1-0 to Everton. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, man of the match. Roz said 2-1 Sigurdsson. I said 1-0 Richarlison. It actually finished 2-1 to Villa, but man of the match went to Luca Dean. I'm someone that's not watching the match. Why did man of the match go to Luca Dean?
Because he played well, Joe.
You saved yourself there, mate. I saw your face. I saw your face going,
To be honest, there's been too much football. I can barely remember what happened.
Too much football? Too much? Is there
really
such a
good.
thing as too much football? Come back to me in late July when there's no football on and you'll be like, oh, I need the football. Can we do the podcast?
Or even then, it'll be like Olympics Football Weekly. There's always going to be something on.
Team GB Daily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shout, actually. Maybe we should do that. Sorry, Mus. Anyway, back to the Everton Villa game, which finished 2-1 to Villa. Luca Dean, man of the match.
Yeah. So, I mean, Luca Dean got the assist for the DCL goal. It was a bit of a shame that Everton scored. It could have been 4 back-to-back 2-0 games, but Everton went and ruined that trend. Yeah, anyway, he had a decent game, but I can't really remember, why he got man of the match. But Ollie Watkins probably came out on top of that kind of fringe England strikers head-to-head. He nicked the ball off Holgate, and it kind of like encapsulated what he brings to the team. Really, just like hardworking, that doesn't give up on any like seemingly lost cause. And then a really decent goal from El Ghazi at the end wrapped it up for them. Ross Barkley couldn't have been happier.
Yeah, sounds good. Do you know what? Talking about the England fringe strikers situation, guys, do you think it's time we did another England selection pod?
I think particularly now there are 26 players.
Yeah, because we worked on the proviso of 23.
Might be able to get our famous 4 right backs in there. That was a big hot topic. But I wasn't on the last one.
You weren't, were you?
I'm well up for that. Okay.
Well, let's pencil it in the diary, lads. We'll stick around after and we can have a chat and we'll figure out a good time to do it. And then we shall let the weeple know. So, on to the next game. Roz, you're going to have a look at this one for us. Newcastle Arsenal. Now, cast your minds back because there is somewhere in the doldrums of recent history a good performance from Arsenal Football Club. You guys both predicted a 1-0. Roz, you said Nketiah. Mus, you said Aubameyang. I predicted Newcastle would win 2-1 and Wilson would be man of the match. Obviously, I was a week ahead because, last night, Leicester, Newcastle, whatever, Wilson. But it finished 2-0 to Arsenal and Egypt's main man in the Premier League, Mohamed El Neni, got man of the match, Roz.
Someone, somewhere would have triple captained El Neni. There'll be that one person that just... I don't know, they probably clicked it by mistake and it's reaping the rewards. Also, how's that hope that kills you sign coming along, Joe?
Oh, mate, I spent 90 minutes working on it on Thursday night.
Yeah, beautiful.
There wasn't much else to do.
Guys, rushing really quickly forward to last night's game, but Joe Willock's the only Arsenal player that has not any fight, really. I know that Arsenal won this game against Newcastle, but dear God, Thursday night. But yeah, Newcastle, they're up, particularly after that win yesterday. Arsenal showing that they can drag a performance out when they really don't need it. But seriously, man, Thursday night. I was shouting at the TV screen and I'm not even an Arsenal fan. You guys must have been infuriated.
Oh, mate, it was tragic. Let's not get onto that, though. It's a Premier League show and we've got lots to get through, as I often am forced to say in this situation. So, quick word on Man United Liverpool before we go anywhere else. What did you make of the postponement of that game, Mus, and the protests by Man United fans on the pitch, previously on the training ground, outside of the team hotel in Manchester? Lots of stuff.
Yeah. Well, firstly, this is probably making EPLW history because it's the first game to be reviewed and previewed in the same show. But I mean, it's kind of hard to know what to say because there's like so many like rights and wrongs. Like on one hand, it was great that the fans made such a big statement, and it seems like with the news about Joel Glazer saying that they'd be open to considering kind of part ownership with the fans, it seems like actually, you know, yes, it was a kind of potentially like an uncomfortable way to protest, and it went too far in some instances. But perhaps that's kind of the message you need to send sometimes. On the other hand, yeah, you know, no one likes to see police officers end up in hospital, etc.
Yeah.
It was interesting seeing like the Sky coverage because they went from kind of full on backing the fans. Everything's peaceful. They're entitled to do it. And then they had to like slowly row back as they realized the pockets of violence that had, it actually wasn't that peaceful. And then they went just full 180. Souness went from being like, oh yeah, you know, like it's good to see the fans sticking up for themselves, to being like, someone dashed a bottle of beer, a can of beer at me, and that could have killed me, which is pretty hilarious.
Yeah, Ross, what did you make of it? Quick word.
Easy thing to talk about, isn't it? I think, like Mus said, kind of both sides. I'm always hesitant to judge any protest by its most violent participants. There's something to be said about the social distancing side as well, which they probably could have done better. Yeah, it does seem on paper to have actually made the Glazers look up a bit. However, I can't really see that happening. There was that hilarious interview on Sky where they were chasing Avram Glazer around, going, "Are the fans just customers to you? Are the fans just customers to you?" A Sky reporter saying, "Are the fans just customers to you?" So let me just check how much you're charging me through the nose for my Sky subscription. No, people took it too far. I think that the majority of the protesters were peaceful. And yeah, as Mus said, Sky U-turning. two U's? They were like O-turning. They were just like doing donuts in a row. The whole time was quite funny to watch.
Right, okay, let's move on then. Spurs, Sheffield United. Our predictions for this one were pretty much across the board. Ros 4-0, Kane man of the match. Mus 2-0, Son man of the match. Joe 3-0, Kane man of the match. It finished 4-0. And that guy, Wales Golf Madrid, Gareth Bale, was man of the match. Ros.
I think you misheard me. I think you heard Harry Kane last week. It's actually very similar in phonetics to Bale. So
right, yeah, of course.
I think I should get 3 points. No, yeah, Sheffield United, nothing to play for.
Spoiler alert, you don't need the 3 points. Anyway, carry on.
Brian Mason's not going to be managing next season, is he? But it does seem to have been a stipulation with Daniel Levy, which is, can you actually play Gareth Bale a bit, please? And he's kind of proving that he's still got it in his locker, even if it is against bottom of the Premier League, nothing to play for Sheffield United.
Who beat Arsenal 1-0 the week before.
Yeah, but again, like it's sort of a wounded animal. And it's also Arsenal. I mean, yeah.
Stop it.
No, that they've actually picked up points to get it. No, I think any time you have a side that's got nothing to play for, they'll be sort of at it 1 week, not at it the next. And as soon as you concede that second goal, or even that first goal sometimes, it can always turn into a drumming like this. But
yeah,
Spurs nothing to play for either, by the way. I mean, they're not getting Europe, are they?
Big shout. We'll see. Okay, let's get on to Monday night's games then. West Brom Wolves, which had all the promise of being one of those crazy, looks like a rubbish game on paper, but then turns into an absolute stonker, maybe because the BBC have got it. I don't know if the BBC had this one, actually, I can't remember. But Mus, this one we predicted between us. Roz said 1-0, Diana. You said 2-1 Pereira. I said 2-0 Pereira. It finished 1-1, but the main man of the match was Semedo.
That annoyed me no end, partly because the guy I'm competing with in my FPL mini league got the Semedo assist and the bonus points, and it was not an assist. It was like I think Carl Barkley just absolutely
Same here.
smashed it in Fabio Silva. It could like ricocheted off his. How is that an assist? But anyway, yeah, somehow Semedo got it. To be honest, West Brom were kind of infuriating, really. They were throwing everything at it in the last half hour or so. Had some great chances, couldn't break through. It was fairly entertaining, end-to-end stuff. Felt sorry for Big Sam, although felt even more sorry for Sammy Lee, who was like sent out into the rain to bark instructions, and Big Sam was just like sheltered, being like,
Really?
"Time to play better."
I didn't see that game. That is amazing. But I did pick up those points for Nelson Semedo as well. So I'm not going to complain about that. So yeah, given
You are
our
that person I'm competing against, by the way, Joe.
Oh, cheers, mate. Sorry, I don't look behind me in the league. I only look ahead. But West Brom Wolves. So
Are you in my league, Joe? On that? Are you in my league? I can't remember.
we all got 0 points. There's a bit of interference on the line there. I don't know what it was. So we all got 0 points for that one. I can just confirm. The last game to look at then, Roz, is Burnley West Ham, which, you know, I mean, it kind of lived up to its billing. Roz, you said this one would be 2-1 and Wood would be man of the match. Mussy said 1-0 and Wood. I said 0-0 Pope. Cue all the Chris Wood jokes. It finished 1-2, so 2-1 to West Ham. Michael Antonio getting both of those goals, wasn't it?
Was that Q? As in Q or the Wood jokes? So I said 2-1, but I said 2-1 to Burnley, didn't I? Yeah. I think my main prediction for this one was actually that at some point some pundit would say the Claret and Blue Derby, and that did live up to expectations.
Did it? Who said it?
Two exciting sides. I'm perfectly happy for them to be in the Premier League. Burnley.
Oh, well, they'll be
happy.
glad to know that you're perfectly happy to have them in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, you know about my
Press release from David Moyes and West Ham.
Mate,
We're delighted to announce
that.
that.
Actually, like that.
Delighted to announce that Roz is allowing us to compete in the Premier League next season. Yeah, so who said it was the Claret and Blue Derby then? Apart from you.
Oh, I can't remember. Someone said it. Probably a couple of times.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know.
Right, well, that's enough
Probably
of that.
Jesse Lingard in the tunnel.
Yeah. So overall, that means we finished with the following points. I finished with 4 points. Mus finished with 4 points. Roz finished with 5 points.
How annoying is it that Roz is literally like Man City? He's wrapped up the title, playing a second string side, pulling out speculative predictions like 4-0 and still getting it bang on.
And he doesn't even care about winning it. Look at him. Look at him. He's just like, yeah, just expected to win.
Just comes easy.
I'm like, it's like when Roy Keane sort of rejected Alex Ferguson's compliments by saying that he was a brilliant player, and he's like, I don't need those compliments. You wouldn't like commend the postman for delivering the post.
Yeah, so don't commend Roy Keane for delivering the treble. There's another one it reminds me of. It's like Arturo Vidal winning his 25th major trophy last weekend. Was I mean,
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean he celebrated it. He celebrated it a bit more than you.
He's clearly got. Do you remember what he said just before the Bayern Munich Barcelona clash? But
No.
he said just before it, Bayern Munich need to remember that they're playing the best team in the world. I'd back over them.
Who's
There was
that-
that
do you know-
clip of Vidal just like doing a Kevin Keegan over the advertising board, just stay there, just like after the fourth goal went in, just like beautiful.
Do you know there's only been 2 seasons in his career where he hasn't won the league?
Right.
Unbelievable,
Jesus.
yeah. In Chile with Colo Colo, then oh god, was it Juve, then Barca, then Bayern, Inter, in whatever order. There's only been 2 seasons in his career where he hasn't won the league. That's mental.
Chile with Colo Colo, and then in Argentina with Yaya.
Wait.
Mus, you need to like bring some puns, mate, because Roz thinks he's got an angle to try and muscle in on your pun game here. Clearly. And it's not going well for us. People are dropping off the stream like nothing. Like, mate, it's.
No, I love how you went for one that I'd actually filtered out, because as soon as you said Colo Colo, that came to my mind, and I was like, yeah, I won't say it doesn't meet the minimum required standard. But
It's below you. Below you. I like it. Yeah.
That is amazing. Right, okay, guys. Right, if you're watching the stream, please make sure you subscribe, like the video, and allow notifications to make sure you never miss another stream like this with me and Mus and Roz here on English Premier League Weekly. We're now going to start taking a look at our predictions for this game week, beginning in a couple of hours this game week, isn't it? With a lovely game between 2 of Roz's favourite teams, 2 of the favourite teams of EPLW, let's say. What I want you to do if you're watching, though, is get in the comments and put your predictions in the comments, okay? Put your predictions in the comments. We need a scoreline and a man of the match for each game. And we're going to share your predictions, and they might even help me make my predictions, because I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, as proved by the overall score. 9 to Roz, 2 to Mus, 2 to me. Mus has only done this show for about a month. So on recent form, I think Mus is actually, he's the form player. But Roz absolutely smashing out of the park. So I need some help, people. Get in the comments and help me out. I'm going to have a look at what you guys say. Right then, let's go. Leeds United, Tottenham Hotspur, 12:30, Elland Road. Leeds United pair Calvin Phillips and Rafinha will be assessed as they seek to recover from respective knee and thigh problems. Captain Liam Cooper returns from his 3-match suspension, but Helder Costa has been ruled out for the remainder of the season. Tottenham's interim head coach Ryan Mason is again expected to be without Ben Davies because of a calf injury. Aside from that, fully fit squad at his disposal, including Harry Kane. Mus, what's your prediction for this one, please?
So in the Lily White's derby, which no one calls it, I've gone for a Leeds win. My logic being that surely if Ryan Mason is just like the prefect that's just been given responsibility for
the head boy is off sick.
Yeah, exactly. So surely, up against a tactical mastermind that is Bielsa, surely he'd get shown up. So that's my logic. Let's see if it holds. So I'm saying 2-1 Leeds, and I'm going for Bamford man of the match. He's got to rediscover his form soon, surely, right? So that's my prediction.
Lots of logic there, Mus. And I feel like you were trying to appease Roz the whole time you were talking there. But let's see what Roz says for his prediction.
I was actually going to potentially talk up Leeds a bit. No, I think, right?
Don't lie.
Liam Cooper coming back is a huge game for them. Their defence looks much better with him in it. There's sort of this running trend. It's almost like Grealish with Villa, right? If Calvin Phillips plays, Leeds look like a good team. If he doesn't, if it's Stroik or whoever in that kind of deep lying number 4, 6 role, they look dreadful. So I think it's actually potentially on that. I think if Phillips plays, they could get a draw. If he doesn't, then I'm going to go for a Spurs win. And you need a prediction, don't you? I think
that would help.
Tottenham will have too much for them. Let's go for another 4-0 Spurs victory.
4-0
with Leeds in it after. I think I called 11-0 Sheffield United once, or 18-0 or something against Leeds. Let's go for Reguilon, because if Ben Davies is injured, he's guaranteed to start.
Okay.
Let's go for Reguilon to get a hat-trick against a hapless, Leeds United.
I love that. You were talking as if you were going to say 1-1 maybe, or a close victory.
Phillips plays and all that. There are too many permutations there.
Okay, well, we've got our first prediction in already then. I'm going to call it 1-1. I'm splitting you guys down the middle just because I don't think Ryan Mason's got what it takes. I buy what Mus says about Bielsa versus, wet behind the ears, Ryan Mason. Bielsa's going to try and give him a masterclass, but then Mason does have the players at his disposal, and it will be down to Ryan Mason clearly is just saying to Harry Kane, lead the team. I doubt there's much more to it than that for the rest of the season. I doubt he's even employing any tactics as such, and that isn't a dig at Spurs. It's just how I feel it will go. I think 1-1 is a fair result. I think Bielsa tactically, but Spurs have the players. So there you go. Ros 2-1 Mus 2-1 Bamford. I've put you guys the wrong way round in my spreadsheet. Oh no.
Why would I ever call for a Leeds win? I don't think I've ever done that.
Well, that's what piqued my interest when I read it out. So, okay, before we go through the next one, let's just have a quick word on last night's game, Leicester-Newcastle. So it finished Leicester 2, Newcastle 4 at the King Power Stadium. Newcastle were 4-0 up, though. Let's, this result flatters Leicester slightly because Newcastle were out of this world, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, can I just say it's a real shame we didn't do this show earlier on Friday because I'd actually predicted that it was going to be a Samuel 2-4 to Newcastle, which is a shame because I would have got those 3 points. But anyway, yeah, Newcastle just shocked to Leicester. Again, one of these, we're starting to see a few of these defensive errors creeping in. I don't know if it's fatigue, lack of concentration or whatever, but kind of similar to the Mason Holgate, Ollie Watkins incident. The first goal was Soyuncu getting robbed by, was it Alan Saint-Maximin?
Yep.
Who then squared it back. Yeah, Newcastle were brilliant. Callum Wilson, who knew having a very good striker in your team makes a world of difference. He was great. Yeah, Leicester is up the pace.
Yeah.
They're doing their annual Brendan Rodgers / Leicester end of season bottle job, aren't they?
I mean, there was chat about Brendan Rodgers being in the frame for the Spurs job. I think he'd be perfect. He just flops every season. Talking of Spurs as well, actually, Sam's in the comments and he's come back to your Reguilon hat-trick comment, Ros. Apparently, Reguilon hat-trick is 500 to 1. So now you've said it. Now you've said it. You have to put that bet
on. What would we say? Yeah,
back to Leicester.
Brendan Rodgers will be a good fit. I'd also say Maurizio Sarri in terms of Chelsea rejects as coaches. I'm sure Spurs would lap that up. But
Leicester last night.
Yeah, I would say Soyuncu's probably the weak link out of the three centre halves they've got. I think Man United should never have let Johnny Evans go. I think he could play for pretty much any team. Arsenal could do with him.
Yeah,
I think they were rumoured.
Arsenal were rumoured with Evans at the time, and they'd never bought him, which was ridiculous. Evans was a massive miss for Leicester last night. Let's not beat around the bush here. Without Evans, they looked shocking at the back, and with the likes of Callum Wilson, Saint-Maximin, that pace just it scared the jeebies out of that Leicester defence. And also, one more mention I'd like to make is Joe Willock. So, Ros, tell me about the myth. They're missing Evans, and then Mus, you're going to tell us about Joe Willock.
Yes, he's an absolute leader. He kind of reminds me of that kind of old-fashioned Premier League centre-half who doesn't need pace. In their old rage, they can kind of play up until the age of 32, 33, maybe even 34, by just having brilliant positional sense, by actually organising players around them, which is something Harry Maguire could take notes from, not leaving himself too exposed, but also just being... I love Johnny Evans. He's so sort of hard in the tackle. He's got a bit of grit about him, leadership. The other one, Wesley Fofana, of their kind of three sought-after centre-halves, I think will be an immense talent and could go to a sort of bigger club. But at the moment, Johnny Evans is the main man, and they really missed him.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have put it better myself. Joe Willock, what a revelation he's been at Newcastle. And is it symptomatic of what Arteta's doing wrong at Arsenal? The fact that he's loaned out Joe Willock, and Joe Willock's smashing it at Newcastle, getting a run in the first team.
Yeah, I guess. But I think sometimes you can't afford to take a risk and need to send these players out to gain that Premier League experience elsewhere, and then they either prove themselves or they don't. I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Willock are probably making the most of their loan spells. Willock, that's now 5 goals in 11 games, I think, which is 5 times the amount of goals that the whole Arsenal midfield have contributed. And of
The
course
whole
it would
Arsenal
be-
team have scored at the Emirates in 5 games. Right? I think it's 5 games at the Emirates without scoring, 10 games
Yeah.
at the Emirates without winning, or something
Although
like
can I say, of course, it would be Mohamed El Neniesta, who would be the
that.
a fellow Egyptian. But yeah, no, Willock's been great. He's like proving himself to be like a really decent box-to-box Premier League midfielder. Does all of John Joe Shelby's running for him. Shelby's very much that like veteran. Just give me the ball to fee and I'll ping it.
Yeah. You can see, like, as soon as Willock walks in the changing rooms on day one, Shelby's like, "You do the running, lad. I'll ping you the ball."
Yeah.
Willock. It's funny on Willock, and indulge me as an Arsenal fan, Miss. How do you fit? You know, is Willock going to want to come back and play at Arsenal because he's not going to get that first team run of games? It's similar, obviously, very different caliber of player, but it's similar with Lingard from United to West Ham. If you're Joe Willock, surely you'd prefer to play week in, week out for Newcastle than to play Thursday nights. Well, not even that now, because we're not going to get. Arsenal won't be in the Europa League next season. So to play the odd game, and how do you fit him in alongside Croydon, De Bruyne, Saka, Martinelli, etc.?
So yeah, I think it really depends on what Arteta or whoever is the Arsenal manager over the summer is able to promise Willock, because you know, if the plan is have a clear out, get rid of Torreira, Guendouzi, maybe even Xhaka, then there's potentially space for him to be Thomas Partey's partner in midfield, or at least cover for him. Yeah, I don't imagine it'll be a popular thing to do to offload him. So I think they'll want to retain him. And you've seen, like, Saka, Croydon, De Bruyne have been like the 2 bright sparks, and having that Hale End spirit in the team kind of it gives the fans something to, like, you know, a connection with the team. And I think with Willock, they'll want to try and find a place for him, I reckon.
I mean, yeah, it's also Martin Odegaard, and we'll see how that deal works out now that Arsenal definitely won't get Champions League. I honestly, if it's Arteta or whoever it is, if they offload Torreira and they offload Guendouzi, and keep a player like Willock, for me, Willock's playing so much better when he's sort of attacking. I know he's a bit more box to box than the other Arsenal kind of number 10s and wingers that you've mentioned. The most shocking thing for me on Thursday night was seeing Thomas Partey constantly kind of trying to drop into sort of that role where you kind of split the centre halves.
Yeah.
Sort of
Well, Arteta's trying to make Thomas Partey like Rodri or something, or Sergio Busquets.
Unbelievable.
He's not that player.
In the first leg, he played Croydon as a false 9.
Oh
In the
my
second
God.
leg,
The
fucking
Croydon
Partey
as
picked up.
false
How
9.
many times did he lose the ball? How many times did he lose the ball? I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I was shouting at the screen. He's just like picking it up, trying to be a player that he wasn't. So they have to keep Torreira, players like that for me.
They have to keep
Bring them
Torreira.
Like,
Oh, it's such a funny one, isn't it, Arsenal? It's just a real fall from grace over the last. It's not what we grew up with, is it, Miss? It's hard to get used to. It's been really like dragged
that's
out.
not why I became a glory hunter.
Yeah, we just happened to grow up at a time when Arsenal were just dominating the Prem. But anyway, look, we're not quite dominating. But one more point on this with the Willock thing. One last point, and Mus, I'll ask you: wouldn't he have been the ideal player to be that false 9 against Villarreal rather than Croydon De Bruyne, who just looked completely out of place? Wouldn't Willock have been the ideal false 9? He's a goal scoring dynamic 10 with height and a good head on him.
How do I say this politely? I think the ideal false 9 would have been, you know, just an idea that you scratch out on your whiteboard and then decide to actually play a striker. Because I think even Willock kind of trying to play a false nine for the first time in his career in a European semi-final probably wouldn't have ended well. Not a reflection on his talent.
Fair. Fair.
I mean, yeah, in fairness, he tried to bring Eddie Nketiah on, and he just spent the whole time on sort of a left wing back. But yeah, no, I'll just really quickly cheer you boys up. I saw a tweet about how the mighty had fallen, and I'll just remind you that it wasn't so long ago that Nottingham Forest and Leeds United were winning leagues, playing in Europe. Arsenal, sinking like a stone, mate.
I don't think it'll be that bad, mate. But, we'll be all right. I hope. Oh! Okay, right. Let's get on with the predictions, shall we? And remember, if you're watching, if you're in the comments like Sam is, Sam, our resident bookmaker, he seems to have made his place in the team just like that. Sheffield United Palace then tomorrow. I'm all over the place here. Where are my fixtures gone? Sheffield United Palace tomorrow. Let's get the fixtures back up on the screen. That's the results from last week. Here's the fixtures. Right. Sheffield United Palace today, 3:00, Sky Sports. From Bramall Lane. Can I remember what I'm doing? Yes, I can. Let's do it. Sheffield United pair Chris Basham and Sander Berge are available after reporting no ill effects from their return to action last weekend. Keane Bryan could return to the squad following the birth of his son on Tuesday. Crystal Palace pair James Tompkins and Nathaniel Klein are in contention to make their return from injuries. Wilf Zaha played against Man City last week despite feeling discomfort in his groin. How do we see this one going, Roz?
Well, it seems that every time I predict a ball fest, it turns into a cracking game. This isn't the kind of 12:30 BBC fixture on the Sunday, but 0-0, nothing in it. Both teams will be solid, stable, unambitious. A bit like Arsenal, but without the stability.
Wow.
But I'm gonna go for a 0-0, and let's go for Gator.
Gator.
The goalkeeper.
Gator.
For man
I believe it's Gator. Vito Gator. Gator. Mus, do you want to chime in on this?
Oh, it's Vincente Guaita.
Guaita.
Yeah.
Guaita. Wow, we've all got a different pronunciation of this guy. If you're watching, Vicente, give us a shout, get in the comments, and phonetically spell your name, please. Right, okay, Mus, how do you see this one going?
So, I've gone with a Crystal Palace win. I think although, both teams have nothing to play for, I think Crystal Palace have a bit more quality, and hopefully Benteke, Eze, Zaha, etc. Offer a bit more promise going forward. So, and actually they had some really good chances in the first half against Man City. So still playing fairly. Yeah, they're not like completely on the beach. So I've gone for a 2-0 away win, Crystal Palace, with my next door neighbour, Eberici Eze, as man of the match.
Great minds think alike. I've gone for 2-0 as well. I've not gone for Eze though, but I do agree. Both teams are kind of done. Palace on the beach, Sheffield United outside the job centre, and it's 2-0 to Palace for me. And I reckon Luka Milivojevic could be the one. Just randomly sticking it out there,
Get a pen. Free kick.
Yeah. Zaha's playing. They're going to get a pen. So Milo will stick it away. I say 2-0 Palace. Milivojevic. Okay, then. Let's get on to the big one, shall we? 5:30 p.m. from the mighty Etihad Stadium, live on Sky Sports today. It is the dress rehearsal for the Champions League final. In 22 days' time, Man City will be crowned Premier League champions if they beat Chelsea today. The teams will also meet in the Champions League final later this month, though Pep Guardiola says his sole focus right now is on securing the title. John Stones remains unavailable for Man City as he must complete his domestic three-match ban. Eric Garcia could recover in time from a fever, while City have no other reported fitness issues. Chelsea are again without Mateo Kovacic because of a hamstring problem. Antonio Rudiger, who missed the league win against Fulham because of his facial injury, played against Real Madrid wearing his mask. Wow, how do we call this one, guys? This is a big one to call. Who wants to go first?
Well, I've got bit of a quiz question for you guys and for the listeners. Which Man City, and there's been a few clues actually dotted throughout the show, so good test. Which Man City player was an unused sub in Liverpool's 2005 Champions League victory, and could end the season in League One?
Hold up. So which I got the Liverpool 2005 could end up in League One. What was the first part of that quiz?
Yeah, which Man City player was an Man City player was an unused sub in Liverpool's 2005 Champions League victory.
Former Man City player. Man City aren't getting relegated to League One.
Current Man City player.
Oh, Scott Carson.
Well done.
Oh yeah, nice question. Expert knowledge of the lower divisions there from Roz, the EPL king. Sorry, the EFL king. Right, so Mus, thanks for your quiz question there. Oh, go on.
So now to what you actually wanted from me, Joe.
Let's get to the meat of the sandwich.
Sorry?
Let's get to the meat of the sandwich.
Indeed, yeah. I think it'll be a cagey affair. I think Man City will rotate more than Chelsea. So I'm gonna go with the draw with Aymeric Laporte as man of the match. I'm gonna say 1-1 draw.
1-1 with Laporte, man of the match. Interesting. And Roz, what do you say to that?
I say that's a really good shout. I think most of this game will just be a bit like sort of Pep and Tommy playing Texas Hold'em, just not really giving anything away.
Texas Tommy Tuchel.
I think that
guys, help me on the flop, on the turn, on the river. Awful.
There was that hilarious moment in the Real Madrid game where Chelsea could have had a penalty and they were kind of through anyway. Atoll went down and Tommy Tuchel just like screamed, just like jumped up from the bench, just like, hey. Then the ref blew the final whistle. He was like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Didn't want it anyway, it's fine. Both teams unbelievably good over both legs in Europe. Both teams thoroughly deserve to be in the Champions League final against two other very good European sides. I can see City nicking this one, only because I think in that final, if Chelsea have any chance, it'll be through work, hard work, graft, all that kind of stuff, but also some sort of tactical genius from Tuchel. If it's player for player, then of course City will kind of blow them away. So I reckon Tuchel probably won't actually show his hand for this one. He'll have plans for the final, but he won't want to kind of wear his players out. They still got a bit to play for, but they're fighting for that Champions League place. However, I think they'll get that regardless of the result. I'm going to go for a 1-0 City win. And I'm going to go for... let's go for Phil Foden.
Look, he just doesn't even care, does he, Mus? Because he's won all the predictions. He's just like, I haven't even thought about it. I don't care. I just got up at 1 minute to 10.
I don't know. We'll call Scott Carson back on the day. We'll play him as a false 9. Screw it. Whatever.
Mate, Zach Steffen and Scott Carson up top for me, mate. That's what I'd say.
Who was the manager? Who was it was that Chelsea goalkeeper.
Edouard Mendy.
Hilario? Was it Hilario?
Oh, Hilario.
Yeah. Where Jose was like, they were short of strikers, and he was sort of in the pre-match interview. He was like, you know what? Hilario is like probably one of the better finishers in my squad. I might actually play him as a striker. And all the press went nuts for about 3 days. And it's like, he's going to play as reserve goalkeeper. Didn't do it.
Was that a masterstroke of Jose kind of deflecting the press's attention elsewhere, potentially?
There we go.
Congratulations to Jose Mourinho for getting the job at Roma, by the way.
He'll do well there. Don't knock Jose. You know I love him.
I didn't knock him. Calm down, mate. Outside now. Come on, let's see.
Leaving the Premier League in tears.
So defensive.
Well, congratulations for getting the other bottle job of Europe.
Come on, guys. Respect. 3 times I win. That was
He'll
awful.
do,
Oh my
he'll
God.
do well there.
I'm going to get in
You've
so
also
much
got
trouble
the,
for that one.
You've got the link up between the two European titans in Jose Mourinho and Chris Smalling again.
Smaldini, yeah.
But no, he'll do well there. It's a more defensive league. He's a legend in Italy after winning a treble with Sully Montari.
Yeah. Single-handedly.
He'll do well there.
Yeah, just him and Sulimentari, just...
But it's an older squad as well. He usually does better with kind of older heads on shoulders, and Rome have got a really aging squad. He'll do well. He'll do well.
Yeah. Okay, let's come around to my prediction then for the Man City-Chelsea game. I don't know how we ended up talking about that. Talking about Sulimentari winning the treble in Italy. But anyway, Man City-Chelsea. Roz has said 1-0 Foden, which he just plucked out of thin air. Musa said 1-1 Laporte. I've said 1-1 Ruben Dias, who was, let's be frank, lads, the outstanding player for Man City across 2 legs against PSG. Come on, let's not beat around the bush. This guy is what City have been looking for, isn't it? They finally spent 60 million and got 60 million pounds worth of central defender. Come on, he ties up all the loose ends. He's made Stones a better player. He's made Zinchenko a better player. He's perfect complement to Cancelo. He's the perfect foil for Stones. You know, he's just solidified that defence. Plus, most of them speak Portuguese now, so the communication is evidently better.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who kind of dislikes Man City, it really annoys me the fact that they were able to offload Otamendi, bring in Ruben Dias in one fell swoop, and he's only 23. And yeah, as you say, he was a real pain in the ass for PSG over the 2
He's back. He's back. Love it.
There's the thing with sort of world-class centre-halves. You know, we all sort of grew up in a generation where you had probably about 10 just absolute, you know, the Nestas, the Cannavaros, the players like that, Ferdinand, Terry's. There aren't actually that many.
Adams,
what you're going to say?
Keown,
Pascal Tino,
Tony Adam.
Yeah.
Senderos, Giroud,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Grimondi.
Absolutely.
Come on.
I think Giroud was probably a better centre half than Giroud.
Oh, hang on. Let's not forget Igor Stepanovs. He was
Of course.
Look,
Yeah.
on the double winning
There's that
team, mate.
It's a great part. It's the I think it's 2005 Champions League, FA Cup final with Arsenal. Opening second, Senderos picks up the ball, and the commentator says something like, "Senderos very highly rated in these parts. They see him as the next Tony Adams." So good.
The commentator's curse, if ever there was one.
But talking about great centre halves like the Nestas, the Maldinis, the Cannavaros, at the moment I can only really think of Van Dijk, Ramos, you know, the kind of aging ones.
Not
It's
Ramos.
nice to know there's actually
Ramos
a world-class centre half.
Ramos is gone, mate. Did you not see him against Chelsea? He was. Oh, mate. He's got about as much stamina as a sack of spuds. He was awful. He was so bad.
A sack of potatoes or a sack of Spurs players.
A mixture of both, if you will. And now imagine that. It's Van Dijk and Diaz. They're the best centre backs in the world. Sorry, like the Premier League is blessed at the moment with talent and managerial ability as well. Anyway, look, let's get on to.
Johnny Evans is third.
Anyway, let's get on to the next game, Liverpool-Southampton, talking of Van Dijk. Liverpool-Southampton, then... Oh, where's my notes? I'm all over the place today. Right, 2015, that's 8:15 to you and me at Anfield this evening. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp says he will assess the fitness of several unnamed players who are nursing minor injuries. Nat Phillips is available, but Jordan Henderson isn't in full training yet. Yannick Vestergaard can play since his red card against Leicester has been rescinded. And on loan forward, Takumi Minamino is ineligible to face his parent club, while Ryan Bertrand remains sidelined by a calf problem. I hope the calf is okay. Danny Ings is not fit to face his former club, but could return before the end of the season as he recovers from a hamstring problem. So, what do we reckon here, lads? Southampton won this one in January, didn't they, in the reverse fixture? They won it 1-0 back in January. Can they do it again, Mus?
No.
Okay,
No,
Roz, can they do it again? No, sorry.
No.
Okay, there we go. Predictions?
I think it'll be difficult without Danny Ings. Plus, I think Klopp's out for revenge. I think he'll want Liverpool to smash Southampton, and then at the end of the game on the touchline, he'll fall to his knees and start crying in front of Ralph Hasenhüttl just to get his own back. No, I think Liverpool, should be well rested. Although obviously last Sunday would have been disruptive for them, but they haven't played in God knows how many days. Probably the longest gap in their season. And yeah, I think Southampton have just been so inconsistent this season. I think Liverpool should win comfortably. I'm going to go with 2-0, and my man of the match already.
Yeah.
That man, Mo Salah.
Yeah, very similar to me again. I've actually gone 3-0 Liverpool with Salah. Exactly kind of what you're saying. You hit the nail on the head. They've had a long rest. Like you say, probably the longest rest of the season. Probably since between the sort of condensed seasons towards the end of last summer. This is probably their longest rest. And it's the sort of time that Klopp actually kind of likes to give the players a rest, doesn't he? So you'd expect them to come out firing on all cylinders. Southampton, meh. Roz, what did you go for? Or what are you going to pluck out of the air for your prediction for this one?
I'm going with Mus. I think 2-0. And I think my Salah as well, I'm going to go identical. In terms of sort of the break that they've had, it'll be their longest break for a while. So, you've got, for a lot of those players, obviously not Mo Salah, but you've got the Euros coming up this summer. And then you're going to have the World Cup next year in that kind of slot. And then all this kind of Premier League football, no European Super League, but all the it's unheard of, isn't it, in the modern day, to have 2 weeks off in football. Crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very similar predictions there for all of us. You guys both went 2-0. I went 3-0, and we've all gone for Salah man of the match. You know what's going to happen now? It's going to be like 4-0 to Southampton or something. Like now we've all cursed it with the EPLW prediction curse. Let's move on then. Go on.
If Hasenhüttl breaks down in tears after a sort of narrow victory, imagine 4-0.
I mean, yeah, what does it say about man that he doesn't cry over being beat 9-0 at home, but 1-0 victory pushes him over the edge? Fair play.
Okay. If you're watching the show, then please make sure you like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and allow notifications to make sure you never miss a stream. Get in the comments and help us out with your predictions as well. We're going to move on to Sunday's fixtures now. On the screen, you can see Wolves Brighton will be on BBC Sport at 12. Villa Man United at 2:05 on Sky Sports. West Ham Everton at 4:30 on Sky Sports. Then Arsenal West Brom at 7 on BT Sport. Monday night will be Fulham against Burnley from 8 o'clock. And that's all the fixtures we're going to look at today. It's a very long kind of official game week in terms of fantasy. These are the fixtures we're looking at this week. We will get onto the others at a later date. Okay, get your predictions in, guys. Get them ready for what is set to be game of the round. Wolverhampton Wanderers against Brighton and Hove Albion. Midday, BBC One, Molineux Stadium. Wolves remain without defender Willy Bolly, who is struggling with the effects of long COVID. Pedro Neto, Johnny Marçal and Raul Jimenez are also still sidelined, although the latter could be given clearance to return from his fractured skull on the final day of the season. Isn't that great news to hear about Raul Jimenez? Adam Lallana's calf injury will keep him out of Sunday's match, but he might be fit for the following week. Florin Andone, Tariq Lamptey and Solly March are all long-term absentees. Okay, Brighton 15th on 37 points. They are safe. Wolves 12th on 42 points. They are on the beach, probably in Portugal. We're now allowed to fly there from this country, so I assume they're going to Portugal ASAP. Roz, a BBC borer or a sneaky mammoth game?
I mean, it always seems like we were saying that if we predict a ball draw on the BBC on a Sunday afternoon, it turns into a great game. So it clearly works. So I'm going to go for another ball draw and hope that we get a really good game. Going to go for 0-0. I think Wolves, they're safe. I know they were beaten 4-0 by Burnley. They'll be working on their defensive game, won't they? They'll be trying to shore that up. The fact, I mean, that goal was it Fabio Silva? Who did it even come off? that one where it's kicked onto his foot.
It was
I mean,
crazy. Fabio, so
Yeah, that's what they need to happen to score goals. So, no, but I love that because I sort of was watching it and thought, that's a hell of a finish. That's like cultured, that they've got a bargain with this kid. And then when they showed the replay, because I thought he literally just kind of lofted it over the keeper. But no, 0-0, Brighton solid. Let's go for Veltman again. Why not?
0-0 Veltman. It's fast becoming a predictable prediction. Mus.
yeah, well, just picking up on your team news update. It's a shame Johnny's missing. You know, whenever Johnny's there, he offers an extra layer of protection for Wolves, especially alongside Willy Bolly. So yeah, it's a shame they're both out. By virtue,
Oh, it's beautiful, man.
thank
That
you.
is one of the best.
But I think, yeah, by virtue of it being on the BBC, I think it's going to be an absolute blinding game. It'll be an Archbishop Desmond 2-2. Who's my man of the match? Let me check. But,
Do you
I haven't-
prepare them?
yeah, I put all my predictions down. I'm going to go Adama Traore, man of the match.
Interesting shout. Okay. Wow, I'm just
Oh,
recovering
no,
from
so
that.
wait. Sorry, Roz, that pun I only thought of when Joe was giving his team news update. I prepare my predictions, not my puns. Just for the record.
On the dome, mate. On the dome? What's it? From the dome.
From
Dome. That's the one.
from the top of my straight from the top of my dome, you know, yeah. Anyway, I'll stay out of it. You two are the funny ones. So Roz, you've gone 0-0. Mus, you've gone Bishop Desmond. I've gone all out. I've gone balls out. Don't care. 3-2 to Brighton. The XG Kings. No, I think, look, these are two teams that haven't really entertained loads, but they seem to entertain in these kind of matches. And I think they're both kind of on the beach. Brighton on Brighton Beach. Portugal on the Costa whatever in Portugal. Portugal. Wolves are on the... Should we start again?
Like Ronaldo, Fernandes, they've all just gone to Wolverhampton for
Yeah.
their summer holiday.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they could just all go for it. Just be like, let's have a good game of football.
They are two sides that do traditionally play very good football, have young, exciting managers that are always linked with the jobs, like the Tottenham job, like potentially the Arsenal job, you know, in Graham Potter and...
Is this the
you know.
first round of recruitment for Daniel Levy? Do you think he'll have a keen eye on this game?
But I was just going to say that if both managers stay at these teams with young, exciting squads, both having terrible seasons, but both teams could finish 7th or 8th next season. It wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world.
Oh, excuse me, little sneeze there. Yes, yeah, I've gone 3-2 to Brighton. My man of the match, I'm going to go Yves Bissouma. He has been an absolute beast this season. He's been so good, such a great player to watch, and surely will be picked up by one of the bigger clubs. What do you reckon? Can you see Bissouma going somewhere? Where's he going to go, Miss?
I think he'll go Liverpool and replace Wijnaldum. He's exactly the kind of player they'll look to pick up. Although I think one thing that could count against him is I think he's a Cameroonian international. And the African Cup of Nations has been moved to January next season. And I think Liverpool have their fair share of African stars. So do you really want to miss out on like a key midfielder, two of your front three, Naby Keita potentially?
He's Malian, just to
sorry,
clarify. Yeah, sorry.
Apologies. Yeah, Malian. So, I mean, no, he's a great player regardless, right? So, yeah, I think Liverpool will probably try and pick him up.
Roz, where do you see Bissouma going this summer? Is it inevitable he's going to go? Can Brighton hold on to him?
I think it's inevitable he's going to go. I think that Graham Potter was quite revealing in an interview he did not so long ago, where he's saying, "Hey, Redknapp style, it'll go straight to the top. It'll go straight to the top." But I think that means they probably had discussions, and he sees himself somewhere else next season.
I mean, yeah.
It'll be a sort of, yeah. I would say Arsenal, but it's not really a step up, is it? Spurs, again, sort of being part of a project, rebuilding. So I agree with Mus. I think that Liverpool are the better shout. They're in a great position to do something next season in terms of winning the league, whereas all the other clubs he's being rumoured with, not so much really.
Yeah, he's 24 years old. He came from Lille. He's had 3 seasons at Brighton and Hove Albion. Came from that, like, the highly praised Lille Academy, in France. They paid a reported 15 million for him. I mean, the return, what a bargain. 15 million, you get 3 years of Yves Bissouma playing for you, and then you'll sell him for how much? What's the price tag, Mus?
Well, yeah, at least 45, 50 million, that kind of range, and that would be a really good deal, I reckon. And that's just the sign of a well-run club in Brighton. All these players, Tariq Lamptey, etc., they'll give you a few good years, and then they'll fund your next batch of decent players.
Yes, it's a clever sort of strategy, isn't it? That you start to see. I mean, we're sort of seeing it at Leicester as well. But Ros, did you want to slap a price tag on Yves Bissouma for me quickly?
Well, if 45 million gets you Thomas Partey, you'd have to put Yves Bissouma higher than that. No, I agree. Maybe slightly less, actually, just because he's not proven at a top level yet. And just based on Brighton's kind of finishing position, which won't be particularly high, I could see him going for as low as 35, which would be a hell of a bargain for anyone that wants him.
So potentially it's going to be his choice, really, isn't it, of the clubs that come in. He's definitely a Premier League player, though. He's got the mould of a Premier League player. Let's move on then to 2:05 kickoff at Villa Park. Man United will be happy that they're playing away from Old Trafford after last week's protests. Villa remain without Jack Grealish. It's 12 matches now, but he could return for the Everton game on Thursday. Morgan Sanson is also still out of a knee injury. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reported he has no new injury problems following their Europa League semi-final clash with Roma. That ended up, 13 goals across the 2 legs? Ridiculous game. However, given that they're playing 4 times in just 8 days, he'll surely rotate his squad, won't he? Solskjaer?
Yeah, I think so. And I think he'll probably look to prioritise the Leicester and Liverpool games and perhaps wrongly assume that this is the game where he will be able to rest players. I don't think Cavani is probably able to play 2 games in close succession, and you're probably better off saving him for Liverpool. And Rashford was on the bench, so I think there will be rotation. I actually think this is the kind of game where Aston Villa might catch United cold. So yeah, I'm going to go over 2-1 Aston Villa victory. Bertrand Traore, man of the match. But yeah, I mean, it's a really difficult week for Man United, right? It's been like Fifth Pro or Fifth Pro? Like the Players Union, as well as Solskjaer, have all said kind of that 3 games in a week, well, 4 games if you add the Roma one. It's just not doable. Yeah,
it's a bit harsh, but is it their own doing? Like how do you police it? Because, if the club is run efficiently, then the fans don't protest. So is it the club's fault then, Ros, that the fans protested and the game had to be moved?
I think the fans probably knew when they delayed the kickoff so much that they couldn't play the game, that there was really nowhere to fit that Liverpool fixture in until the end of the season. So actually, I think the fans will be happy enough that they've made a big statement with that. In terms of being a well-run club, talk of having fans on the board, all that kind of stuff. Rio Ferdinand was saying the other day, you need a sort of individual, neutral regulator, a bit like Ofcom do with the media. But you just have a board, and we've got the PFA, look out for the players. You've got all these kind of bodies, but they all have a kind of interest. There isn't really a fans one that has any power, and I don't see anything changing. Avram Grant sort of said, not Avram Grant.
Avram Glazer, yeah. Avram Grant sticking his oar in.
Avram Grant, Millwall legend. Look that up on YouTube. It's beautiful. Avram Grant sort of saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to have discussions with the fans." He had a 16-paragraph letter to the fans. Nothing's going to change, is it?
No.
They've got the power until some sort of regulator comes in, some sort of legislation comes in. Nothing's going to change. But should we talk about the game? Oh,
Yeah,
no,
I mean, when you say regulator, do you mean someone like the FA or UEFA or FIFA potentially? You know, is that what they're meant to be doing, or are they
it's what
just?
they're meant to be doing, but they have their own interests. I mean, the case in point, you've got 2 English teams in the Champions League final. UEFA, no chance they're going to move it from Turkey to get the money in. You know, UEFA they don't have the interest of European sides. You know, they at heart. FIFA don't have the interests of international football at heart. It's all money. So
Yeah,
that's a pretty bleak point, but
I'm just going to go and lay down for a bit after that. You guys carry on. Let's get back on topic.
I mean, in terms of sort of having fans on the board, in terms of you know, being happy with your owners, you need to look no further than Millwall, who've been doing that for years. Always had fans on the board, but trendsetters, mate, trailblazers for the game.
Every episode, he manages to squeeze it in, doesn't he? A little. Why Millwall great?
It's relevant. You've got all these protests at American owners. We've got a brilliant American owner. So big clubs are saying, why don't we have fans on the board like we've been doing for 10 years now? Why don't we have a women's team like we've been doing for 25 years now?
Fair play. The
No,
Lioness is good.
About 30. But anyway, do you want me to get on the game, or do you want to?
Well, look, I was going to put it to Mus, actually. You know, after Mus has predicted, you know, Villa to win 2-1. I just wanted to remind him that Man United are unbeaten in their last 21 Premier League away games against Aston Villa since a 3-1 loss on the opening day of the 1995-96 campaign. It's the longest away run one side has had against another in English top flight history. But, you know, records are there to be broken, aren't they, Mus? Just ask Linford Christie.
Indeed, yeah. All Aston Villa need to do is take performance-enhancing supplements, but allegedly. But no, I mean, I think if it's gonna, if the record's gonna go, it'll probably happen this week of all weeks. They're just traveling back from Roma. They've got 2 big games against top 4 opposition. It could happen. I mean, there's nothing riding on it, right? Roz has already wrapped up the title, so I'm gonna go for a Villa win.
Also, Roz, so that was Premier League, obviously 95-96, but the last Man United team to lose a game at Villa Park, when do you reckon it was?
To lose at Villa Park?
Okay, I'll tell you what, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was playing. He was on the pitch. The last time Man United lost at Villa Park.
If Solskjaer was there, it would have been. I think he joined in '98.
Wait, was it?
Is it '99?
Yeah,
it was 99. It was 99 in the League Cup, the only trophy Man United didn't win that season. There you go, mate. So,
love it.
Roz, what's your prediction?
So I was watching kind of both games on double screens on Thursday night, and Rashford was benched, came on quite late, but didn't really. I mean, obviously the tie was wrapped up by then. Whereas the likes of Bruno Fernandes were pressing every ball. Wan-Bissaka was on one, picked up a really stupid yellow card. But like, a lot of the players that actually did start almost were like sort of trying to prove a point. I think Solskjaer was sort of making a statement that actually, if you screw up our fixtures, we're not going to respect the Premier League. We're not going to respect the FA. We're going to start this really strong lineup in Europe. I think Mus is absolutely right. Cavani, I don't think he has 2 games in a week in him, really, or not starts, or at least sort of 90 minutes. He was sensational on Thursday, but he won't start. I can see Rashford starting up top. Which is why I'm going for a 2-1 Man United win with Rashford being man of the match.
Interesting. I've gone 2-1 myself. I don't know with the Cavani thing. I think he might pop on for 15 or 20 in each game. He's been so outrageously good for them the last couple of weeks.
So good.
Like, I can't look past Cavani as the match winner. You know, in this game, I'm thinking who's the one that's going to win this game for either team. You know, Villa, you ordinarily look to Grealish. Without Grealish, it's hard to find someone else to that. Even though Merce has gone for his second Traore shout as man of the match this week. Yeah, I'm saying Cavani. It'll be a close game. I think it could be 1-1. Cavani comes on last 15, scores a fucking worldie, 2-1.
Just the way he reads the line in terms of staying on side and sort
He'd make
of
a great
just
actor the way he
planning
reads
his
the lines.
runs.
Yeah,
He's, I think, caught offside like once a game and is constantly on the shoulder. Like all his goals sort of come from ridiculously clever movement to just kind of baffle defenders.
and the
He's
celebration.
scored goals where it's like he's well offside. No, he's not. He's just a genius.
Yeah, and the celebration. You love to celebrate the
Yeah,
that one.
Oh yeah,
The classic. Yeah,
the Robin Hood.
international sign language for "I want a
Yeah.
strongbow, please" in a noisy pub.
How close is?
So
Very good.
next time you're in a pub, I want to see the knee slide. The knee slide on the pub floor.
I mean, does anyone know how close Villa Park is to Sherwood Forest?
No.
Okay. No, just wondering if there was like a Robin Hood
Oh right. Oh.
joke in there.
I was waiting for an amazing joke then, Miss, and you didn't deliver. A bit
I was
like
trying to construct one collectively.
it was like
but
it was like
Oh,
getting it was like getting a joke from DPD. It didn't
was
turn
like
up.
a joke from it's a joke from IKEA. I was like, let's build this.
yeah. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's move on to West Ham Everton, 4:30 from the London Stadium tomorrow. West Ham captain Declan Rice is back in training after a knee injury, but this game will probably come a bit too soon for him. Cresswell and Antonio returned from their hamstring injuries on Monday's 2-1 win at Burnley. They should be all right. Abdoulaye Doucouré is in contention for Everton for the first time since fracturing his foot in early March. James Rodriguez remains out with the calf problem that caused him to miss last weekend's defeat by Aston Villa. West Ham won the reverse fixture here, 1-0, and they're looking to complete their first league double over Everton since 1973. How about that, lads? This is actually quite a tasty game in prospect. West Ham, 5th place on 58 points, 3 points behind Chelsea. So you see if Man City win that game against Chelsea today, opens the door for West Ham to look at that top 4 prospect again. Everton are 6 points off of 5th place, crucially with a game in hand as well. So it's all to play for, isn't it, Mus?
Yeah, it's the David Moiseola derby, as Roz was calling it earlier. I think West Ham have to go for it. And I think you really screwed me over, Joe, last week when I was making my predictions, because I don't think you mentioned that Antonio was back, and he makes such a big difference to West Ham. And Antonio's a bit like Ollie Watkins in that he's a hard-working front man, and I think he'll be pressing the Everton back line and harassing them all day. So I think West Ham will win this one, 2-1, and I'm going to say Antonio will be man of the match. But West Ham have such an array of talent. Even if Declan Rice isn't going to go straight back into the team, which I don't think he is, they've been integrating Ben Rama into the team. Obviously, Lingard's been off the boil slightly, but he's still contributing.
Yeah, it's Mus. It's interesting. You've gone 2-1 Antonio. Just before I come to you, Rod, sorry, I've done exactly the same. I've gone 2-1 Antonio with much of the same kind of logic. Roz, is West Ham getting into Europe key to them keeping J-Lings on the books?
It depends what you mean by Europe. If you mean Champions League or Europa, if they end up 5th, he'll stay. I also think that he just seems happier. He's in a much happier place, both physically and mentally. He just seems like a sort of he's really kind of found his feet at West Ham. So I can see him, and also United won't have a place for him. If you're Jesse Lingard, you're going, well, I'm going to move on. Do I go with the club that I know I'm playing well for and he's probably happy to be in London as well.
Yeah.
As anyone would be, right? No, but I can see him going to West Ham on the permanent, easy. But just in terms of Antonio, he presses like Watkins, but he's also a sort of going back to the way that Cavani reads the line, not the back line. The way he sort of just nipped in front on the shoulder, scored the goal the other day. Good finish as well. Very good player.
Antonio, Roz, Antonio. Why is he not in with a shout on for the Euros? If there's a 26-man squad, if Watkins is in the conversation, if DCL's in the conversation, why isn't Antonio in the conversation? Surely he provides more of a threat than those two.
He's certainly ahead of Bamford. But
I think the main reason is that he's declared for Jamaica. Isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, of course. Sorry.
No, but I mean, there's still
that
time.
was recent. That was very recent.
It was very recent. I don't think he's been.
He hasn't
fully
appeared
capped
for.
in a official. No, he
No.
hasn't. So it's still, obviously you can still convince him, but I think he's publicly stated he'll play for Jamaica.
He offers more than Bamford. I mean, I think now we definitely will take that third striker. So it'll be Kane, DCL, and somebody else. Although Calvert-Lewin really hasn't looked up to much lately. The second half of his season has been an absolute shadow of the first half of his season. On Everton as well, I mean, I know they're kind of fighting for it. The way that they lost the Villa game reminded me of the way that they won the Arsenal game, which was they didn't really do enough to do either. And it was one moment of either magical madness. In the Arsenal game, it was the madness from Leno. And in the Villa game, it was that magic from El Ghazi, a really good winner. But I think in both games, like, I think 3 points from the two games there is about fair for Everton. I'm going for a Bishop Desmond. I reckon it'll be 2-2, and let's go for Sigurdsson.
Ooh,
Left field.
another one you just pulled out of nowhere. We spend 5 minutes talking about the game. No one mentions Sigurdsson, and then you're like, bing! Oh, Sigurdsson. I'll put him as man of the match. Just one more little word on Michail Antonio. He's one of those stories. You know, he came from non-league, a bit like Jamie Vardy. He's progressed through the ranks of English football, hasn't he?
He dipped.
Well,
He was somewhere else first, wasn't he?
he
Unlike Vardy, I think he was on the books at... Was it Sheffield United even? Or
he started off at Tottenham Mitcham. He was on the books at Reading. He went from Reading on loan to a number of teams. Then he was at Sheffield Wednesday, then Nottingham Forest, and then 6 years ago, West Ham. And he's really, you know, he's one of the top. You've got to say he's in the top 10 strikers in the Premier League right now. Is that a fair shout?
And he's a right back.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, I agree.
The best defensive striker since Fanzi. Right, let's move on to Arsenal West Brom. I've been looking forward to this one. 7 o'clock on Sunday from the Emirates Stadium. Big Sam visits Arsenal. Big Sam surely is rubbing his hands together at the sight of this fixture. West Brom 19th, 34 points, 10 points from safety. They're down. Arsenal 49 points in 9th. 9 points off of a Europa League place. It's just not great. Villa below them have a game in hand. Tierney could make his first Premier League appearance for 5 weeks, having returned during midweek against Villarreal. Xhaka pulled out of that game with a muscle complaint and will be assessed, while Cedric has recovered from his illness. David Luiz is a doubt because of the hamstring problem he got last week at Newcastle. West Brom loanee Ainsley Maitland-Niles is ineligible to face his parent club. Robert Snodgrass will miss West Brom's final 4 games of the season with a back injury. So, Arsenal have won 10 of the 12 Premier League home matches against West Brom and haven't lost since September 2010. And Arsenal have scored every time these two have met in the Premier League. But something tells me it might go a bit different this time. Roz?
And I was just going to quickly say, talking of Xhaka and left backs pulling out, I'm sure there's some sort of reference to the Johnny pun earlier. But
Feel the silence. Feel the silence. Feel the silence.
I'm just going to let it hang. Let it hang. Wow. No, let's...
We're literally shedding viewers. Go.
I don't think Tierney looked fit when he came on. Was he subbed as well? He
Yeah,
got pulled off
Martinelli
for
came
Willian,
on for him, didn't he?
Was
Did
it Martinelli?
Martinelli come on for him, I think? I can't
Oh,
remember.
it was Martinelli or Willian.
Oh, yeah,
But
Willian.
I mean, Arsenal really miss him when he doesn't play. I think Saka looks burnt out. I think Arsenal look burnt out. I think if they can't grab a performance and effectively like the final of their season, if there's anything left to play for, they looked so insipid against Villarreal. Was untrue. Yes, Aubameyang hit the post twice. There were kind of moments, but we've spoken about that enough. I can see West Brom getting a victory, surprisingly, or not. Let's go for Diagne to absolutely bully Rob Holding. Let's go for a 5-0 West Brom victory. Diagne hat trick.
Absolute bell. Mus.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, so Roz said Arsenal are looking a bit burnt out. Burnt like Leno, I'd say. Before I make my prediction, if Sam's still in the comments, could you just ask Sam if he's starting in goal for West Brom? That would inform my prediction. I've weighed up all the factors. I think traditionally this is the kind of game where Big Sam will come along and Diagne will bully Rob Holding and West Brom will like ruin every Arsenal fan's weekend. But I think given Arteta's job is probably hanging in the balance and a decent end to the season might give him more of a chance. I think he's going to go for it. And I think, I'm going to be hopeful. I reckon Willian will finally score his first goal for Arsenal. I'm going to put him down as man of the match. And I'm going to say a 2-1 Arsenal victory. What are you saying, Joe?
I think there's more likelihood of Roz's prediction coming in. Willian scores for Arsenal. Are you joking?
It's hope that kills you.
Okay, look, fair enough. Fair enough. We're all entitled to our opinion. I'm but you're both wrong. Look, if I was Arteta, I'd be saying right now, I'd be telling this squad right now, you're here next season, you're not. You're here next season, you're not. If you want to stay here next season, you've got 4 games to prove it to me. You go out there, you give it your best for the shirt, la-di-da-di-da. The players are the same players that let Emery down. And they know, it's this conversation we have quite often, Roz, especially, I think you bring this up from time to time. The players know that they're going to be in the job longer than the manager, potentially. So it's in the manager's interest to keep the players on side, right? So it's hard to really say, how Arteta approaches the game. But in an ideal world, he'd be starting to cool off and letting players like Saka and Croydon and Martinelli and maybe rest or release the shackles a bit. Do you know what I mean? You often see it with Arsenal, even in the Wenger years, when the season was over and there's 5 or 6 games left, they suddenly started playing, no pressure on them. They started playing absolutely brilliant football. Shades of like Jermaine Pennant's hat-trick against Southampton a few years back, that kind of, they just come out of their shell. So it could go either way. It's a very tough one to call this. I'd hope that Arteta isn't his cagey self and gives himself these 4 games to kind of try out being a bit more ballsy and scoring a few goals in these last few games and finishing the season on a high for the fans. I'd like to say that Arsenal will go and win this game comfortably, but the realist in me says, nah, it's Big Sam. He'll stick one on us. It'll be 1-1, and Mateus Pereira will probably light up the game.
Wow. The trouble with that is, the players that were doing, it's the only thing that Arsenal fans could get excited about, those young players in the sort of attacking midfield positions, just look burnt out. I think Croydon had a few moments on Thursday night. Saka, just who knew that playing 2 seasons in a row, every game in every position apart from the goalkeeper on the pitch, would actually make you eventually burn out, which is a shame because I was really hoping for him for the England squad. I don't think he'll make it now. He's having such a sort of tired end to the season. So where does Arteta find inspiration from?
I'll tell you what, Roz. It is one thing that is kind of keeping Arteta hanging by a thread, to my mind, is the players that are doing well and the players that have performed well. You know, he clearly has his players that he likes, and it looks like he needs one, maybe even two more transfer windows to continue this clear out that he's been doing. I think there's a bunch more players that he probably doesn't want there, and a bunch more that he could get in.
He needs two Champions League windows. Let's get that right.
I don't know.
The old Jose comment about buying your eggs from Waitrose or buying your eggs from Aldi or whatever it was. The fact is they're not going to get Champions League football, which is such a huge draw. If you're Basuma, again, you go to a Liverpool to replace Wijnaldum, where they're in a really good position to go for the Premier League next season, even if they don't get Europe. Do you go to a Chelsea who look like they might get European football? Or do you go to an Arsenal where it's a building project, where the dressing room looks fairly toxic? I think you're right. He needs to clear out more. I think even Arteta said this. I'm sure Arteta said this in an interview once. He needs this transfer window is about getting players out. It's not about getting players in. If your captain's turning up late before a North London derby, there's just so much going wrong. And I think, to be honest, to rebuild that squad, he needs to Champions League football transfer windows to actually get to where Arsenal want to be. I don't think he'll get that time. I think he'll get sacked before.
What do you make of it, Almost? You're an Arsenal season ticket holder.
Yeah, I think he's on thin ice. I'm not sure he'll get the time to turn it around. And to be honest, the lack of experience counts against him, because there's no evidence of him having been in this situation before and turning it around. I mean, you kind of have the two examples of Chelsea and Man United, who were kind of in similar situations with their managers. Chelsea went the route of sacking Lampard, going for an experienced manager and completely turning their season around. Man United gave their manager time, but they also gave him huge amounts of money to invest. And eventually it came good. And they were, as Roz was saying, in the Champions League, able to attract big star players, big name players like Cavani, which Arsenal won't be able to do. And I just think, Arteta will be out sooner rather than later.
They're different appointments, though. I mean, the one thing you could say, maybe Solskjaer didn't have enough experience to take such a big job, but his two managerial experiences were Cardiff in the Premier League, so at least he had a season of Premier League football, and also Mulder, where he was winning trophies and working with at least the best players in that country, where you had that winning mentality and an expectancy to win. Arteta was putting cones out for Pep Guardiola before the morning training session. Again, back to the beginning of the show. Pirlo, after 10 years of dominance with Juventus, they look like they might not get into Europe. They appoint Pirlo for that. Rooney, Derby, probably getting relegated in about half an hour's time or whatever. It doesn't work. Solskjaer is a different appointment to Arteta, because at least he had a bit of managerial experience and he earned a few of his stripes, I would say. Arteta, what's he done? So many naive decisions. Like tactical, subs, plays positioning, being able to inspire a team. You don't need to be the best manager in the world to inspire that Arsenal team to go, you know what, go and play well in this fixture. Villarreal played well, won a lot of fouls, looked sort of defensively solid, but their goalkeeper looked shaky as hell. Pau Torres was fairly decent. One of their most creative, pacey players went off injured in the first 10 minutes. How uninspiring must you be? How fragmented must that changing room be? I could inspire those Arsenal players. You could, Mus. You could, Joe. This is your final. Their best players gone off injured. Their goalkeeper looks shaky. Do you fancy winning this game? Unbelievable.
It's a really tough one. You feel like another thing that, going back to the comparison with Solskjaer is another thing Man United did, is they brought Ferguson in to kind of consult with Solskjaer a bit, didn't they? And had him on the phone, not kind of in his face, like in the dressing room, but just kind of there for advice and help. And I don't know if there is that relationship with, say, Arsene Wenger or any kind of, big ex-players or managers from the club. I think the saving grace, though, Yeah, the saving grace for the Arteta in crowd is that maybe Stan Kroenke, will keep his zip done up on his wallet, and he won't want to sack Arteta, even though it's a very small deal and he's not going to lose a lot. He would maybe be tempted to see how it goes and say we're going to stick by him and give him time as a kind of excuse to not spend the money, because a new manager means a new bunch of money, whereas he knows Arteta wants to ship people out and get people in that way. Arteta is balancing the books essentially, isn't he? Like he's on a mission to balance the books as well as the dressing room, which is probably music to the Arsenal board's ears, isn't it? Because that's what Arsenal love. That's why Stan Kroenke bought 100% of Arsenal. It's why so many people are interested in buying it. It's why so many of the old guard left gradually down the years. It's because Arsenal is such a financially well-run club that it made a perfect business prospect.
But he's also kind of, on the other hand, devaluing the asset in the sense that, under Arsene Wenger and even before him, there was 25 years of continuous European football. Now you've gone from last season's 8th place finish to potentially worse than that. No European football. Moved away from the traditional transfer policy to bringing in aging players with powerful agents like Willian. That was Arteta's man. He's failed. He's on huge wages and a long-term deal despite his age. Things like that really kind of count against him. And I think, perhaps the business decision after a bit is going to be that it's better to part ways and bring in someone that's going to, even with some upfront investment, but eventually, hopefully.
I know it's like bleak times at Arsenal at the moment. Dean Smith would kill for this Arsenal squad. Carlo Ancelotti at Everton would kill for this Arsenal squad. I know there's this argument about him kind of balancing the books. But there's a difference between, you've got Kieran Tierney, who's probably the second best left back in the league. You've got Aubameyang, who's, if you play him in the right position and get the right motivation out to him, then he'll get you 30 goals a season. They've got some of the most exciting youth players in the country, and he's fucking around like playing party, trying to split the two centre halves. He's doing all this like ridiculous stuff, and it's like, well, if you've got that squad of players, part of your job as a manager is to get best out of them, not to try and put those kind of square pegs in round holes and sort of tinker. He overthinks everything. He's basically trying to go, I'm Pep Light. If you have these players, you should be able to finish higher than 9th. It just, I know it seems bleak, and I know that it's like, he just doesn't have the players. Like Lampard didn't have the players. Yeah. At some point, you need to start looking at the manager.
It's true. I mean, he should have maybe, this stage in his career, it should have been at maybe a lower club or a less high-profile club to learn and make those mistakes, in a less kind of media-driven situation, and then move on to a high-profile role. Anyway, look, let's get away from the big cloud that's hanging over the Emirates and have a. We've got a couple of minutes left. I want to be done by 12. Let's have a very quick look at our last prediction of the week then. Monday night football, 8 o'clock from Craven Cottage. Fulham against Burnley. Fulham going into this one, string of losses. They lost to Chelsea. Got a draw against Arsenal. Oh, God. Lost to Wolves, lost to Villa, lost to Leeds, lost to Man City. Burnley come in. Burnley, you feel like they're doing well recently, but they've only won 2 in the last 6, and that was the 4-0 against Wolves with the Wood hat-trick, and 2-1 away to Everton. Wood scoring in that one as well. Since then, they've lost to Southampton, they've lost to Newcastle, they've lost to Man United, and they've lost to West Ham. But Chris Wood has been scoring bags of goals for them. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the last 6. Chris Wood's surely the main man for Burnley in this one. Do Fulham offer any kind of threatness?
Not really, to be honest. I think they haven't offered a threat up front all season. That's kind of the big failing. not been able to get the best out of Mitrovic. Flickers from Lookman, but there's a lack of cutting edge which is counted against him. And I think, to be honest, it's natural to feel dispirited knowing that you're kind of limping out of the Premier League really without a fight. So I fancy Burnley for this one. I think Sean Dyche will want to rectify last week's result. I'm going to go with Dwight McNeil instead of my usual Chris Wood man of the match prediction, and I'm going to say it will be a 2-1 victory, away victory for Burnley.
Okay, yeah, and on the subject of scorers that you brought up there, Miss Roz, who is Fulham's top scorer this season? Miss, feel free
I just had 2. Lookman.
No, Lookman's had 4 goals. Miss,
is it own goal?
No, actually, it might.
Okay, I thought it was a trick question.
Bobby De Cordova-Reid has scored 5.
Yeah. He's a decent player.
Lookman's got 4. Mitrovic, Cavallero, and Maja have got 3, and on 2 is Ola Aina, and that is their top scorers this season. And that is, frankly, as you said, Mus, they're just not had the cutting edge up front, have they, Roz?
Not at all. On De Cordova-Reid, guess the job of his sister.
Labour MP.
Yeah.
Is she a shadow minister?
Yeah. Up north somewhere. But
so much respect for the north.
Slightly above Watford. Anywhere from Watford to Edinburgh. One of those places that us Londoners famously care about.
Scottish when you want to be,
think
mate.
That,
Londoner when you want to be. Scottish when you want to be.
I can see this being pretty drab, actually. I think Fulham are too good for the Championship, as they show every year, and they don't quite have that cutting edge. They've learnt a bit from their mistakes from last season, last time they went down, even, but still haven't had that killer instinct. They're actually playing pretty good football, but they're just not getting the goals to win the games, which is why they'll ultimately go down. Burnley are a team that can beat anyone on their day. Burnley are a team that can lose to anyone on their day. I can see them winning this one, though. It'll be 1-0, and it will be Vidra. Let's go for Vidra.
1-0, Matai Vidra. Okay.
Go on, Joe, sorry, before you give us your prediction, could I just say I think Roz is going to be in the doghouse because Marsha De Cordova is MP for Battersea.
Brilliant.
Beautiful.
Love
But was she not? I thought she was up north somewhere.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Right, okay then. My prediction, I've got Wood 2-0 Burnley. That's what I've gone for there, lads.
Every week.
Every week. Had to put it in there. Someone had to make the joke. Look, we've got to end on a positive, haven't we, after that long, drawn-out doom and gloom chat about Arsenal. It's been a great show, lads. Thank you so much. And before we go, I'm going to rattle through our predictions. I've got the game week fixtures up on the screen there. Here we go. We're going to do it. Wish me luck. You going to wish me luck? Or...
Luck?
Up, mate.
Thanks. Right, okay. Here we go. Here are your game week predictions from the English Premier League weekly team. Leeds, Spurs. Ross said 4-0 to Spurs, Reguilon. Mus said 2-1 to Leeds, Bamford. Joe says 1-1 Kane. Sheffield United, Palace. Roz 0-0 Gaeta. Mus 0-2 Eze. Joe 0-2 Milivojevic. Man City, Chelsea. Roz 1-0 Foden. Mus 1-1 Laporte. Joe 1-1 Diaz. Liverpool, Southampton. Roz 2-0 Salah. Mus 2-0 Salah. Joe 3-0 Salah. Wolves, Brighton. Roz 0-0 Veltman. Mus Bishop Desmond Traore. Joe 2-3 Bissouma. Villa, Man United. Roz 1-2 Rashford. Mus 2-1 Traore. Joe 1-2 Cavani. West Ham, Everton. Roz Bishop Desmond Sigurdsson. Mus 2-1 Antonio. Joe 2-1 Antonio. Roz Arsenal, West Brom. Sorry. Oh no! Arsenal, West Brom. Roz 0-5 Dianya. Mus 2-1 Willian. Joe 1-1 Pereira. Fulham, Burnley. Roz 1-2 McNeil. Mus 0-1 Vidra. Joe 0-2 Wood. Damn it! I tried my best. as I was reading through them, I saw your 5-0 West Brom prediction, and it really rattled me. But yeah, well played, guys. Thank you for joining me today. Mus, thank you very much.
Yeah, as always.
And Roz, thank you very much.
That's one. Cheers, guys.
Thank you very
Cheers.
much for watching this. If you've made it this far, then you may as well subscribe and allow notifications to make sure you never miss a stream. Follow us on Twitter at EPLWPod, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Adios, amigos.
There it is.